You guys know that The Rock is betraying Roman at some point during this story, right? I don't know if it'll be at WrestleMania. It could be at WrestleMania, just given everything that The Rock has been doing ever since he came back into WWE, or it could be later on. It could be at SummerSlam. It could be at the next pay per view other than WrestleMania. You know, we're on this road that The Rock is giving us, and we are just living in a different time, in a different feel of an environment where The Rock has come back and WWE has been selling out like crazy. So, my question is, will The Rock betray Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Square Circle Podcast. I am your host, Marie Shadows, and on this episode of the Square Circle Podcast, I am going to be breaking down the Rock and Roman promo from this past Friday on WWE Smackdown, March 1st, 2024. That was in Phoenix, Arizona, or Glendale, Arizona. It was in Arizona, and it was a sold-out arena. And it felt like we got transported back to the Attitude Era, and it looked amazing. Presentation-wise, amazing. Every single seat was filled to the brim. It was a sold-out arena because people are now realizing that wrestling is cool again. Wrestling has always been cool. If you stuck around and don't pay attention to what people say on the internet to try to discourage you from loving wrestling. And if you love wrestling as much as I do and love this podcast, there are some things that you could do to help out this podcast. So we could do one of those you help me, I help you kind of deals. So if you guys don't know, I have a Fourth Wall HQ account, which is very, very similar to Patreon, but really exceptional in more ways than one. On my Fourth Wall community, the description will have the link posted so you can click on it and go visit it. It has everything you need in one place to stay up to date with me, such as early access to these podcast episodes and more via a membership that will keep it ad-free, because that membership money is going to help me reinvest into the Square Circle Podcast, reinvest into everything that I do, including the vlogs, the tape study series, and being booked on commentary for wrestling events. And I will take you along with me every step of the way. Fourth Wall also provides merchandise. So I have brand new merchandise up on Fourth Wall, even a 7-star rated collection series, which is basically a tongue-in-cheek thing of Uncle Dave's 7-star match rating. So if you feel like a 7 on a Monday, which you should, and every day of the week you should feel like a 7, you can wear the t-shirt or you could get the hoodie, and it has all the stars there and you could feel like $1,000,000. You can also get exclusive membership perks, such as access to my Discord, the soundstage, the wrestler interviews that I will be doing, and much, much more. Your help is definitely appreciated, encouraged, and I love the fact that you want to stay with me on this journey as much as I want to know what's happening with you guys. So I would like to know, what are you guys creating these days? What are you guys doing these days? What are you enjoying in professional wrestling? What are you not enjoying in professional wrestling? And of course, do you think that The Rock will betray Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40? You guys can definitely give me your answers to all of these questions by either sending me a message on Fourth Wall, but you would have to be a member in order to send me a message. You can also email me at squaredcirclepodcast@outlook.com. You could also find me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows and DM me that way. Or something that I really want to try out is that Spotify and Anchor, since they have teamed up to create Spotify for podcasters. They still allow me to have the link for you guys to send me a voice message. That voice message will be played on a future podcast episode to answer any of those questions. Now, obviously, if you want to give me permission to post that, just let me know in the message, or you can tell me your answers to the rest of the questions other than what's happening in your life, because that's a personal thing. So anything that's like super personal, I won't post about. But if you want to share it with me, that's totally fine. But anything else about like, who do you think is going to betray Roman at WrestleMania? What are you enjoying in wrestling? What are you not enjoying in wrestling? Who's your favorite wrestler that you're watching right now? Who's your least favorite wrestler? Please keep everything respectable and respectful when giving me your answers. It's not just a free-for-all rant about something personal that a wrestler has done in the personal life, because remember, this whole thing is about kayfabe and keeping it kayfabe. But if you'd like to share your thoughts and your ideas for that, I am willing to read those answers, talk about those answers, and basically give you the thumbs up of like, cool, awesome, keep going and watching wrestling and loving wrestling. And I hope that my podcast episodes sort of help with a little bit more understanding about what wrestling is, the foundation of wrestling, and how to appreciate the overall awesomeness that is professional wrestling. Again, all links will be down in the description below, but let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming of talking about The Rock and Roman promo on March 1st, 2024 on Smackdown. I was surprised that Roman Reigns and the Bloodline opened up SmackDown. And then The Rock came out. And then they did a whole 31-minute promo, which was amazing. When you have The Rock coming back into wrestling, you really don't give him a time. Not even. Like, you don't even tell him to wrap up. He'll wrap up when he wraps up, and that's because he has earned it. And judging by the reaction in Phoenix, he held everyone's attention. He even held my attention. And I am very interested in this whole Bloodline, Rock, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins saga. This is a really huge storyline, and it's basically a good storyline now. It's getting shaken up. Now, after the fact, after everything is all said and done, settled in the dust, whenever this whole entire story stops and has an ending, we're going to probably look back on this and talk about the different layers and characters and chapters in this story. I do think, and I will say it now, that Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre got fucked over in this story. It was cool to have LA Knight in this Bloodline story too, as like a bump in the road. But this is what happens when Vince McMahon was really hands-on for the Bloodline storyline and making Roman Reigns this unstoppable champion for 1,000+ days. And now we are left with Triple H trying to figure out what's the best course of action. Because if Triple H decided to have put the championship title on Drew McIntyre in his hometown, it would have been great. It would have been cool for a little bit, and then Roman Reigns would have been back on the chase. I am the type of wrestling fan that likes a good chase. I also celebrate when people end up getting championship titles that they deserve and they work hard, and my definition for that is very few and far between when I use that they deserve it. There are others that just don't put in as much work as they should and end up somehow getting a championship title. We've seen this time and time again, but that's neither here nor there. I like a wrestler that ends up losing a championship title and then having a promo that explains that maybe it wasn't them, maybe it wasn't their good night, or maybe they just fought a better opponent than, themselves or something like that. To where now the chase becomes a psychological one. And I like the chase. I like to see the wrestler get back up on their feet and go chase the belt, and it'll be a very breath of fresh air storyline. So if at that time McIntyre won the title, it would have been glorious for maybe about a month and a half, and then wrestling fans would have turned on Drew McIntyre, and then bam, Roman would have got the belt back. The same thing with Sami Zayn. Like, they should have gave him the title, but then giving him the title for the sake of giving him the title would have ended up in a Drew McIntyre situation, and people would have just turned on him in a month and a half, and Roman would have to go back on the chase and stuff. The only reason why I am proposing these ideas, if they did it, when I say they, I mean WWE, if WWE had done those little tiny breaks to disrupt Roman Reigns' championship reign, with all puns intended, then maybe we'll have a Roman Reigns where it's a lot more psychological, and he's breaking at the psyche and he's being paranoid. And there were signs of that too when Sami came into the fold, and Roman Reigns just being a little bit more paranoid, making sure that Sami gets with the program, and Sami was, and then realized this isn't for him. And that's a whole nother lesson in itself, which everyone should learn from. Don't go into peer pressure if it feels like it's not part of your makeup, your mind, and what you know to be right versus wrong. Don't fucking do it. Just follow Sami Zayn, take a chair and hit somebody in the back, and they'll never see it coming. All I'm saying is that sometimes you have to protect yourself first before taking that beating. Anyway, I present these ideas because I really want to get into my notes about this. The way that Roman Reigns gets no respect right now from the WWE universe, when he goes from town to town to town, and even in Phoenix, he was repeatedly asking the crowd to acknowledge him. And you can see it in his face and his body language and the little mannerisms that he does, that he's getting annoyed. He's getting frustrated. He's also getting paranoid. So keep that in mind. So for him to do this and to demand respect, we all know that's not how it works. So you can't demand respect. There is a mutual respect between two people. Even if you don't know each other, but you know that as a human being, you're looking at a human being right in front of you. You guys are both existing in this world. You may not know each other, but you'll give that mutual respect because there's no issue that has arisen. So that's why mutual respect is one thing. But then to get on the mic and to be acknowledging me, and then when they don't acknowledge you, you want to sort of parent the crowd into forcing them to acknowledge you, and when they don't, you want to leave, and telling us that you already fulfilled your obligation. And that right there tells you a lot, that Roman doesn't want to be there, but he has to be there. But if he doesn't feel like he's getting that respect, it's like, why would you waste your time and your energy to be there? He's getting a paycheck anyway, so he'll just show up, clock in. Oh, you're not going to treat me right? I'm just going to walk right out. And then the wise man, for him to be saying that he can't, that's a whole nother thing, because we've seen throughout this whole Bloodline storyline that Roman Reigns does what he wants, when he wants, on his own time, on his own dime. It wasn't until they got Nick Aldis to put his foot down and basically tell Roman that he cannot do what he wants to anymore. Roman complies with this and decides to show up. But you notice how he started showing up a little bit more when The Rock came along, and The Rock had his back and was at his side. And then now when he doesn't get the respect and is annoyed and frustrated, he wants to leave. But then the wise man, Paul Heyman, says he cannot leave because he, The Rock, is going to be coming out next. And did you guys see the body language of Roman Reigns when Paul Heyman, the wise man, the one that let Roman Reigns do whatever the hell he wanted, and only allowed Paul Heyman, the wise man, to speak only when Roman Reigns asked him a question or wanted him to speak and take the promo home. Roman Reigns did not like the fact that The Rock was coming out, and then the fans did a very big pop for the name of The Rock. Then they go over to commercial. And this is where I'm going to insert my hot take. Are you guys ready for my hot take? You guys should be ready for my hot take. So here's my hot take on Roman Reigns getting annoyed. At this point in the Bloodline storyline, Roman Reigns is annoyed, he's paranoid, he's irritated, he's frustrated that the WWE Universe does not love him anymore, the same way that The Rock gets love and hate at the same time. Now, The Rock just came right back into wrestling, took a spotlight, took a spot anyway, and gets a reaction no matter what. And that's just a true testament to how The Rock laid out his legacy within WWE and then also in the movie business, even though it got a little, sour towards the end of his movie business and all the mistakes that he's done in his life. But knowing The Rock, he owns up to it, but that's, again, neither here nor there. It's the fact of how The Rock laid out his legacy. And people still talk about The Rock, people still comment about The Rock, and people just want to be entertained. So here is my hot take. Roman could have been working on his star power so he can be equal to The Rock, but wanted to take vacation days and cheat in all of his matches. That doesn't really help him out in the end if you really think about it in hindsight. And defend the title less and think he is above everyone can definitely land him in the situation that he is, where the bigger star power of The Rock, who has done everything right, to still have the fans wanting him to come back, having the fans act like actual wrestling fans of what you're supposed to act like when you go to a show. Make some noise, throw out some boos, make signs. I felt like I was transported back to like the 90s, 2000 era where every single arena had fans with signs filled up to the brim. But yeah, if Roman Reigns was smart about this, he would have continued to defend that championship, continued to show up, continued to make interesting storylines with everybody. And I know someone's going to be like, well, he did do that. He did, but it's just not enough. We have a different outlook on things because of the shift in power now, the shift in thought process. We no longer have Sammy going after the bloodline. We no longer have Drew going after the bloodline. Now we have Seth and Cody because people want Cody to finish his story, which is interesting. It's cool. But now it's a little bit more better and fresher that The Rock is in here. And I will be the first to admit that I technically did not want The Rock at WrestleMania 40. I did not want this Rock versus Roman thing because it should have happened maybe like 2 WrestleManias ago, give or take, just because like it felt right then. But now that we have this shift, I'm interested to see where this goes rather than just being like, oh, it's horrible and whatnot. Like now I understand the journey and where we're going, because even though it is very obvious that The Rock is eventually going to betray Roman, we don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. And that's the exciting part for me. It's not knowing when and not knowing how, because I can say that I feel like, or I think like, either one, I don't know, that Rock will betray Roman at WrestleMania 40 so Cody can have his match. That may or may not happen, because that will be the predictable move. A non-predictable move is not having Cody finish his story at all, even though all the obstacles will be against him. But again, to finish one story is to get the title that his dad never managed to get, despite the technicality that happened in his dad's career. And then a befitting ending will be taking that championship title to Dusty's grave, putting that title on the gravestone and basically saying, we did it. That's how I envision Cody truly ending that story for his dad, and then begins the story of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is not in the shadow of his father. He has created the American Nightmare, and now he truly needs to be what it means to be the American Nightmare when it comes to the bloodline, when it comes to The Rock. And I can't wait for that. So yes, I do believe that if Roman spent a little bit more time not truly scoffing off everybody and thinking he's above everybody and being there to put in the work, because for the most part, it was Jay, Jimmy, and Solo, and Sammy at times, doing the bidding of Roman Reigns while he took a vacation. Sir, why are you taking a vacation if you need to just oversee what everyone else is doing and be ahead of everybody else? And then when they don't get the job done correctly, you're blaming them. See, that's the problem. It's like Roman is sending out these orders and these plays and stuff, and then if it doesn't go according to plan, he blames them. But it's like, there's strength in numbers, sir, but you're out having a vacation day, and yet then you get angry at the person that you left the job for that wasn't equipped with everything that was needed. I mean, you are the tribal chief. Yes, your minions can definitely take care of themselves. But by having a strong leader present, this can give your minions way more confidence and become a little bit more powerful because you're there. They don't necessarily need you to hold their hand, but they need that sort of guidance and strategicness to get the job done. All right, let me go over The Rock's lines by line. The Rock opens up and says, "Are you sure you want to boo The Rock?" This is to test where the crowd is with him. The crowd is split into cheers and boos when you first hear The Rock song. There's a lot of cheers, and then when he gets into the ring and he says that, it's a lot of boos because it feels like the fans remembered, oh, I have to boo him, which is very fun. The second thing he says, "As you sit and look at greatness." The Rock was all about, look at the great one this, the great one that. I am the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment. He is the great one. He made a whole legacy about being great and being great on the mic because his wrestling skills are but his mic skills were pretty good. The third one, where he starts talking about pro wrestling and how pro wrestling is cool and it's electrifying and it's selling out. He's 100% right. WWE is on a really high profit ball rolling of extravaganza and is electrifying now. And it has captivated a lot of people. It has brought back a lot of people. And that is thanks to The Rock. It's thanks to shaking things up. Sometimes we take for granted what nostalgia can do. And I totally understand why fans, including myself, don't always like nostalgia because we want something new. But sometimes going back in time at the right time in the business, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, the wrestling business is all about timing. If you don't have the right timing, you cannot do things like this that bring everything to a whole nother level. You really can't. If this was like 2 years ago, like the 2 WrestleManias ago, where like it should have been Rock versus Roman, it would not have been this popular the way that it is. And now that we have selected players in this, it elevates everybody. It elevates the bloodline. It elevates Cody Rhodes. It elevates even Seth Rollins. Like, as much as we love to say that work rate is a very good thing to have in professional wrestling. It really is. However, I don't think Seth Rollins can sell out a WrestleMania on his own with his opponent. Like, if we got Seth versus Cody Rhodes, it would be another great match. And I would have no complaints about it because it's Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, and they put on one hell of a match with a lot of emotion in the match, a lot of story in the match, very good build up. Like, these guys know what professional wrestling is, especially the professional part. But if you told me that they were going to main event like night one of WrestleMania, okay, cool. You know, I wouldn't be too excited, to be honest with you. But if you told me they would main event night two of WrestleMania, I'll be like, okay. Because night one, you have to get everybody hooked. That's why they paid the ticket to go see WrestleMania night one. And then night two is a bonus for extra stuff that couldn't be on the card for night one. Then again, your story really has to get you on the card. What you're doing has to get you on the card. You know, there's a lot of talk on social media, especially Twitter, where they don't understand what it takes to make it to a WrestleMania. You really have to give it 110%, 120% to make it on the WrestleMania card because it's very limited space. And it goes by popularity, it goes by story, it goes by what the crowds are into. And if you are not producing a very well story where everyone is talking about it, or at least creating some buzz, or being on podcasts to let the world know this is what's happening, you may or may not be on the WrestleMania card. But to say all that, I do think that, like, either way, a Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes match would be amazing. It would be great. I'll watch it. Like I said, I won't have any complaints. But you do need the star power in order to get way more people interested in WrestleMania, way more people interested in what's going on. And this is why storytelling is the backbone of professional wrestling. It's not only the moves, because anybody can do the moves a million times over. But if there is no rhyme or reason, if there is no story, if there is no emotional attachment to the stories being presented to you as a fan, then what's the point of wrestling? By all means, if wrestling didn't have any story, any art to it, no connection, you're just basically watching boxing, UFC, anything that doesn't have story and is just about athletic ability. And that is not professional wrestling. That is not sports and entertainment. Two genres that technically should not go together, but it does go together. And I would really love it if the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, stops trying to change what wrestling should be in their own image and in their own agenda when they get on Twitter and just say stupid ass shit. The Rock also says and definitely acknowledges the Cody chants, because the fans think that they can hijack the segment and chant Cody. And then The Rock just hits them with the Cody crybabies and a bunch of other things. And by the way, I do agree with The Rock that there are a bunch of Cody crybabies just because of the think pieces and people getting upset rather than watching everything unfold and seeing where it's going to go. Now, I do understand, like I said before, that The Rock coming in, he took a spotlight, he took a spot from somebody else on the card, but how else were we going to get excited for a WrestleMania match that is basically a rematch to Roman versus Cody the year before? How are we going to get excited? This is where I would like you guys to give me your thoughts, give me your answers. So the question is, if The Rock never came into the scene, into the bloodline, and did everything that we currently know, if he never appeared in WWE at that moment, how would you get excited for a Roman versus Cody match? What would the defining factor in their whole story, other than the popular phrase of finish the story, would have gotten you excited to see a rematch between Roman and Cody? You cannot answer this question by using the finish the story popular phrase. I want to know your opinion about the question. What deciding factor would have gotten you super excited to see Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns again at WrestleMania without The Rock's help, without any of The Rock, and without finishing the story? Again, you can give me your answer via a voice message by clicking the link below and leaving a voice message to the answer. You can also message me as a member on my Fourth Wall community. You can also message me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows via DM. You could also email me squarecirclepodcast@outlook.com. And then once you join the Discord, we could have a further discussion in the wrestling topics section of the Discord. So pick and choose whichever one you want. Now, here is where things get interesting in the world of wrestling and in this promo. The Rock is turning on his business side because after he left WWE and went into Hollywood, he learned a lot of things. He learned how to be a businessman, and he offered a counter offer to Cody Rhodes. So he says, night one will be a tag match. We will have The Rock teaming with Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes teaming with Seth Rollins for night one, a tag team match. I don't understand why I was excited for that. I really don't. I don't understand why I was excited for a tag team match. And, earlier in this podcast, I did say that night one needed to have star power. Well, then you have all of them there in night one as a tag team match. It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't make anyone look weak, because in a tag match, you can hide some of the weaknesses and amplify the strengths and vice versa. Right? Everybody gets some time on the card. Everybody gets some TV time, pay-per-view time. Everyone is there. All the pieces in this game of chess is there for night one of WrestleMania 40, which I'm excited about. I'm excited about a tag team match. Don't know why. Now, here is a stipulation for night two. If Cody Rhodes can successfully defeat The Rock and Roman Reigns in night one of their tag match at WrestleMania 40, the first stipulation is when night two comes around and it is Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, versus Roman Reigns. That match will be free of the bloodline. That means that Heyman, Jimmy, Solo, The Rock will not be anywhere around the ring. They will not accompany Roman Reigns. It will be a very clean fight. So that is the first stipulation. The second stipulation is if Cody Rhodes loses to The Rock and Roman in night one of their tag match at WrestleMania 40, that means that for night two, for that Roman versus Cody Rhodes match, it is going to be bloodline rules, and that means anything goes. We all know it's going to be a street fight, but that means anything goes. And it's going to be barbaric. It's going to be bloodied, and Cody Rhodes is going to be very outnumbered because The Rock, Solo, Jimmy, and Paul Heyman are going to be out at ringside. They're going to help Roman Reigns retain that WWE Championship title, that undisputed WWE Championship title. Now, what do I want? I have no idea. I could go with both. But if we go with both and we go the clean route where Cody Rhodes wins the tag match and it's a very free of the bloodline, I know some shit is going to happen. I know that something is going to have like a loophole where someone is going to come out to help Roman and bam, Cody Rhodes loses. But then again, you guys also have to remember that Cody Rhodes, says a lot of things. And basically says that he was talking to the elders and also talking with The Rock and getting some feedback, some ideas. And, I do think that The Rock will eventually betray Roman. I do think that they're going to try to insert the elders into the storyline and to give the word to take out Roman. And Roman gets to have his days back home without a championship title and relax. Because technically, if you're a champion, you've been carrying the company on your back. But, if we do go the safe way where there's no interference, I know for a fact that something's going to happen. And it might not even be bloodline related if we get the free of the bloodline stipulation when it comes to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns fighting at WrestleMania 40. So I don't know which one I would want. I would like to see the bloodline rules if Cody Rhodes loses to The Rock and Roman, and then night 2 is the bloodline rules, only because I want to see who is going to back up Cody to help him out. Despite if Cody is like, I could do this on my own, guys, like I can totally like fight them all off. Like, sir, you can't. Okay, you might be the American Nightmare, but no, you can't do that. So I want to see who's going to come out, who's going to be his friends, who's going to be his backup. That's more interesting to me because that's more story to go on rather than like, knowing the predictableness of if you say that if Cody wins, the bloodline is not going to be at ringside, for a fact that it's going to be a loophole. At least if you know that Cody loses and then night 2 we get the bloodline rules, everything is there. You can see it. What's scary in life is when you are faced with the unknown versus what you know. Because what you know, you can see, you can plan, you could definitely have some eyes in the back of your head. But the unknown it basically weakens your walls that you have set up. It weakens your guard because you think that because you are an honorable person that has respect for another person and you think that they are honorable too, in a way that, stay with me with this, that nothing is going to happen, that no loophole is going to drop, and it just weakens your sense of awareness because you think you're going to have a clean fight. You think that you're going to have a one-on-one fight, a 1v1 with no outside interference. That's when I would be a little bit scared and I would be like, let me lose for night 1 to get night 2 and be prepared for what I know is about to come. But sometimes in life, it doesn't work that way. They say that, when you travel into the unknown and you get over your fear, it makes you into a better person because you have that experience. But in the world of WWE, we know this experience already. We know that the bloodline always finds a loophole, even when they have no bloodline members out there. How many times have there been no bloodline members other than Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman is the manager, so he doesn't necessarily get involved unless he has to. But Paul Heyman is out there. He's the manager. He doesn't really get involved. But then all of a sudden, somebody in a hoodie comes over and it is Solo that ends up jabbing his thumb into Cody Rhodes' neck. Like, we've seen this before. So why would we go the route of having a clean fight between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 if Cody Rhodes ends up winning that tag match the night before? Like, I wouldn't want that because then it'll be too predictable. Then that means that, like, I don't know, maybe Jacob Fatu comes out and, like, helps out Roman Reigns and joins the bloodline. Or, Tama gets introduced into the bloodline. I don't think Tama is going to start with the bloodline, by the way. I do think that Tama's going to end up making his way through like NXT with the Good Brothers and like knock some sense into AJ Styles. I think we're going to do that first with Tama Tonga, and then like he could do whatever the fuck he wants after that. I don't care. As long as Tama has a very good time and he is very happy, that's all I care about. But I just want to mention that those are possible scenarios for what can happen if we end up going the very clean route of no bloodline in sight, because we all know that some loophole is gonna fucking happen. That's why I rather have the Bloodline rules for night 2, just to see, again, who is going to back up Cody Rhodes. The Rock continues with, Rock owns it all. Rock is your boss. Rock is on the TKO board. He really wanted to drive home that he is untouchable. This is very similar to the Authority days in WWE, which was annoying as hell. And definitely he wants to throw around his weight. And then, after all of that, after The Rock said everything he needed to say, all of the heel aspects that The Rock was doing towards the crowd by calling them names, insulting them, everything that The Rock is known to do, he is about to end and wrap up the promo and does his famous line of, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? However, in the middle of that, Roman Reigns decides to stop The Rock. You do not stop The Rock in the middle of his "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking" line. The camera positions were amazing. They totally captured the horrified look on Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman knows the severity of stopping The Rock. Even The Rock was looking at Roman being like, what are you doing? I thought he was going to get an ass beating. Like, you just don't stop The Rock. And did you guys notice how Solo moved into position between The Rock and Roman to make sure that fighting does not break out? Like, that's a very telling move, because it's sort of like, if a fight did break out, who are you separating from? Or are you going to become a casualty and end up accidentally hitting Roman Reigns in the scuffle that may or could have happened? And then would Solo be in the doghouse because he attacked Roman, and Roman is going to take it as an offense, even if, like, you know, push comes to shove and he was pushed and got into Roman while The Rock and Roman were scuffling. But obviously that didn't happen. But The Rock was really looking at Roman like, what is this guy doing? And then this is where I think the psyche of Roman is starting to show again, that it's starting to break again, because it was breaking before. It was breaking before, but we wouldn't really know after the whole Sammy thing, because Roman didn't want to bother to show up, and Roman didn't want to bother to really take on LA Knight and really take on Cody Rhodes. So that sort of like hindered him in his story that could be this side quest of like, is he getting paranoid? Is his psyche breaking? We saw that his psyche was breaking because he was annoyed, frustrated, and irritated that the crowd wanted to hear from The Rock more than Roman Reigns. And Roman wants the demand of the respect for people to acknowledge him, and nobody wants that. And so by him saying that he would do anything for family, he would do anything for family, and he needs one thing from The Rock. And he told The Rock, I need you to acknowledge me. First of all, you don't tell The Rock anything. The Rock does what The Rock does, and you let The Rock be. But this is coming from a man. This is coming from Roman Reigns, who has had a really huge foot on everybody that has been under him. He has been in control the whole time, until recently he has not been in control. He tries to act like he's been in control recently, but he has not. He has lost the reins, all pun intended, to be in control. And to get this satisfaction from The Rock saying to Roman Reigns, because yes, The Rock did say that he acknowledges him. However, you can tell that it was very nervous like. You can tell that he didn't want to do it. You can tell that The Rock was like, this is going to hurt me way more than like it's going to hurt him, because Roman over here is really thirsty for acknowledgement that Roman doesn't know how to, or how he could share the spotlight with The Rock. and get the same reaction that The Rock is getting. He doesn't know how to do that. And I'm surprised that he is allowing The Rock to take the reins on this whole entire thing. The Rock is the only man to put out a 20-minute promo, a 15 to 20-minute promo on social media, which, by the way, I did not get through because I was like, I don't know if I want to sit through a 20-minute promo. And then I remember listening to like the first opening lines of the promo, and he kept repeating certain things, and I was like, sir, are you rusty on doing a promo? Because I know you could do better than this, and my attention span was just not there. But if Roman was doing stuff like that, showing up, being present, dear wrestlers, you guys have to remember that even though ordinary people who are wrestling fans have a life, they have a job, they have a family, they may not always be on social media, but like there are people that are chronically on social media that will definitely enjoy the videos that you create, right? But I want you to know that you need to create videos for social media to get people talking about you, to get people invested into professional wrestling, to get people invested into the things that you do behind the scenes when like you're not wrestling, or if you're trying to cut promos and you're just working on your skills and stuff like that. I know that we've become a society where if you post something online, you get that instant gratification, but don't think of it as instant gratification. Just think on like, you can look back on your journey and be like, look how far you've come on creating promos, on working on things that have a weakness to you in the ring. All I'm saying is that you need to use social media to your advantage. Now, being part of WWE and being part of a mega corporation, you really don't have to do much of the social media stuff. But look at the reaction that The Rock gets when he posted a 20-minute promo and everyone is praising it. And then Roman over here can be bothered to try and figure out a way to get in on that spotlight, to get in on those fan reactions, because he still thinks he's above everybody. The Rock knows he's above everybody, and this is why he gets that back and forth reaction between people, because most of the time wrestling fans want to be joked on, so to speak, because that's part of the wrestling experience, is to have a wrestler curse you out in kayfabe and in character, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, he said this shit to me, blah blah blah, put up on social media and have a laugh about it. Like, I am surprised that Roman did not try to figure out a way to get in on this, so that way his popularity can rise and the narrative can change. But then again, this might lead into a different question. Will Roman Reigns betray The Rock? Even though The Rock, in his very shaky voice and the very somewhat of a long pause of acknowledging Roman Reigns, even though Roman heard it and that was music to his ears, and even The Rock letting Roman close and wrap up the huge ass 31-minute promo that these guys had in the middle of the ring, is also telling. The Rock never does that. The Rock does not play second fiddle to nobody. The Rock does not play into the shadow of nobody, but he did it because there is a bigger play at here. He did it because he knows that if he didn't, there will be a lot of questions. If he didn't do this, there will be a lot of doubt. There'll be a lot more paranoia. And then definitely Roman will be like, you're working with Cody. He will be the first person to blurt it out, because that's the first thing he's going to say, because essentially we might end up going the route of Roman fears Cody. That's why in the previous promo, The Rock was saying that he doesn't understand why we're having a rematch against Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, and that Cody Rhodes needs to go to the back of the line, even though, like, we all know, us wrestling fans and other wrestlers that watch the Royal Rumble, we know that Cody won the Royal Rumble to get his shot at Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Even the announcers would say it. However, the reason why The Rock was saying that the last time that he didn't know why, he didn't know the reason why, is because obviously he didn't watch it. That's why he was saying why. To all the wrestling fans out there that was complaining about The Rock's last promo, talking about it, that's your reason why. The Rock does not pay attention to wrestling as he should. He pays attention to his stock, he pays attention to the fans, and then he pays attention to the bloodline a little bit. But when it comes to other things that doesn't really concern him, or whatever in his life might have stopped him from watching the Royal Rumble, like, he's not going to go back and watch it. He's not that type of character. But getting back to this, though, that, like, something big is going to be happening as we go down this road. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm only here to just give scenarios, because this is what's fun about professional wrestling, where we can give scenarios rather than speculate this or that and try to bring some personal shit into it, or try to be like, I have sources when you don't have sources. You know, we don't do that kind of thing. Like, this is very fun for me to be like, let's look at all the facts, let's lay it out. Maybe this time around, because Roman got the acknowledgement from The Rock, Roman thinks that now he can control the situation and fans will start to cheer him because The Rock is now under his toe. So Roman thinks. Maybe in a little bit more time, Roman might end up betraying The Rock. We never talked about that. We never even thought about that. And if you thought about it, again, hit me up on the socials. Let me know. Leave me a voice message. Leave me an email. Become a member today on my Fourth Wall community. And in my Discord, we can talk about it. I'm actually going to go post that right now on my Discord and see if people are going to respond to it. Did we ever think that maybe Roman Reigns will betray The Rock, instead of the narrative of, is The Rock going to betray Roman Reigns? That is everything for my notes on this breakdown of The Rock and Roman promo from Smackdown March 1st, 2024. And it's amazing to talk about. This is the kind of stuff that I get excited about, where I could break down professional wrestling promos, characters, and ask questions that need to be asked, rather than trying to have an argument back and forth with the users in the IWC, where they have already made up their mind that you can't tell them anything. They won't accept a different perspective, and sometimes they won't even agree to disagree, because you have to agree with what kind of agenda they want to push. And most of the time, those that have blue check marks, rent is due always at the first of the month. So they have to create some nonsensical tweets in order to get a paycheck from Elon Musk. That's how it works. Me, I don't do that, because I don't really have the funds or the means to get a premium subscription to Twitter when it was free for all features. And I get it that, like, companies end up losing money, but I just don't want to. But if you want to fund me to end up getting a blue check mark, that's cool too. But my point is that this is the kind of conversations that I miss having with my regulars that support me along the way. I miss you guys so fucking much. I miss you guys on my live stream. I miss doing these. And I will tell you the number one reason of why we sometimes need a support system, a wonderful support system like each and every one of you guys out there listening and sharing and sending me wonderful messages, is because us who overthink and create content for the world, we get so far into our heads. I was going to say we get so much into our heads. I mean, it's probably the same thing. We get so far caught up with our thoughts in our mind, and we start to doubt ourselves. I doubt that sometimes people don't want to listen to my opinion, but then again, I'm very talkative and I'm very opinionated about wrestling, and all I want to do is make wrestling better than it was yesterday. That's all I want to do. I want to cheer on my wrestling buddies. I want to make sure that they're doing well in their character work, in their promo work. And this is why I started the podcast. This is why I started the tape study series where we get to come together on my live streams, watch professional wrestling matches, watch the wrestlers who do it great, watch the wrestlers who don't do it so great, and I offer real-time feedback because I want people to succeed. This is not an easy business. We all need to become a family, like we always say, and support each other and basically share and tell people that they're doing so well, they're doing so good. So if you ever wonder why I take a long break, it's because I get so far into my head. I start to think about all these doubts. And it's not even imposter syndrome. It's not even that. It's more of like, can I still hang with the quote unquote best of them? You know, because everyone's content is different. Everyone's content gives somebody, meaning a listener, something different than mine does not give. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I can give you everything in kayfabe because I don't like to talk about anything personal that a wrestler goes through. It's all about kayfabe here. But someone else on someone else's podcast loves to talk about the news and get their news from the dirt sheets. And if it's something personal that hasn't been verified or double checked, that person on that podcast will talk about it without any type of respect for the wrestler. And some people like that. Some people don't. So I'm just saying that if you ever wonder why sometimes I take a little bit longer to do things, it's because I overthink and it's because I doubt my ability, even though I am perfectly accepted into the world of podcasting, the world of wrestling podcasting, and making all of this content and everything. And then for me to go from 0 to 100 through the 4.5 years, because 2024 is year 5 of the Square Circle podcast, and we together have over 300 plus episodes. I'm technically a little burnt out in my mind. So my body wants to recover, my mind wants to recover, but if I'm not trying to make new content or trying to be like, hey, come with me on this journey, come into my community and let's have some fun, I'm not making any type of money if I slow down. My mindset is still, I need to make content in order to make money. And yeah, I know some of you guys don't want to hear that. Some of you guys might want to think that I should just be completely humble, but this takes a lot of work and edit to do it by yourself when you don't have a team. Other people have a team. Other people can afford an editor. Other people can commission others to make their podcasts, logos, and like all this kind of stuff. I don't. I do everything on my own. I have you guys to thank for listening to each and every single episode of the Square Circle podcast and coming to my live streams and coming to be with me as a community. I do all of this on my own, so I don't have a second helper or something of that nature. And plus, anyway, I like to really pay somebody, but if I don't have the means to pay somebody to commission something or to help me out with edits, then I won't do it because I don't believe in giving you exposure. I really don't. I believe in paying for something that's worth the value of it because I value the artists. I value the editors. I know how hard it is to work on editing videos for YouTube and gaming clips and YouTube stuff. I already say YouTube, but you know what I mean. But yeah, this is me being 100% honest with you guys. But I really do want to thank you for still sticking around. Thank you for still going along with me, even though I take these breaks. But it's a matter of pivoting what I need to do with my content now because we are past 300 plus episodes in the span of 5 years now. And they say that podcasts don't last in 5 years or less. But I love professional wrestling. I love going out to wrestling events. I've yet to like really go out to wrestling events and do what I love to do. I love talking about professional wrestling. This is my life. This is my passion. This is everything that I know. And by the way, with that passion comes me creating a wrestling planner for you guys. Don't forget to check that out. Link will be down in the description below. But yeah, if you guys ever wonder why sometimes I'll take a break without really telling you guys why I'll take a break, is because I am so far deep into my mind of thoughts that it is very suffocating in there and it can get a little bit overwhelming. And sometimes I just want to relax and do things that are not wrestling related. Which, by the way, sometime this year I will be starting my wrestling novel. If you guys don't know, I really do want to create some novels out there and create a wrestling fictional novel. So if you want in on that, where it's like first access, you get to read the draft as I write it. That will be specifically over at reamstories.com/Marie Shadows. Ream Stories was created by authors for authors to share their works in progress. Think of it like a Patreon plus Substack put into one, reamstories.com/Marie Shadows. Yes, you will have to get a subscription over there to help me out with my writing process, my writing journey, because that too takes time and effort. And again, I'm the only person working on all the things that you see me produce. I am the only person. I still have my Substack as well. That's going to get revamped. Again, all of the links that I have talked about today will be down in the description below. Just click on them, go support me, go sign up if you need to, especially to the Substack newsletter. That is a newsletter that I'm going to, again, revamp. And if you want to continue to support my journey, that's the easy way to get to know about that. And then also, if you sign up to the Fourth Wall community, you get access to the Discord, and we get to have a lot more fun in the Discord. It's wrestling related, along with sharing book ideas, story ideas, WWE 2K24 that's coming out soon, and a fitness journey that I want to be on. Listen, I want to take you guys everywhere with me. I want to start doing IRL live streaming. Hopefully, I can get into WrestleMania 40 because I have applied for presses, and I would love to do some live streaming in real life. So all I'm asking for you guys is to come along with me on this journey. I already love you, and I encourage you to go tell a friend, share this out, and let them know that Marie Shadows has a podcast called the Square Circle Podcast. And without any of your help, this would have not been successful as it is right now. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, sharing, subscribing, and telling a friend about the Square Circle Podcast. You have been listening to me break down The Rock and Roman promo from Smackdown March 1st, 2024 episode, and I hope that it was a good breakdown. Again, let me know your thoughts by reaching me all over social media and definitely checking out the links down below. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to tell a friend. And I will see you guys on the next one.